Hello and welcome again to another edition of Hashtag Now Smoking. I'm Gary Korb, your host from CigarAdvisor.com, and I am joined today by Michael Klingerman. He's the buyer for Famous Smoke Shop, or famous-smoke.com. And we are going to be smoking something really special, and Michael actually had a part in the cigar. This is the EPC Carrillo 80th anniversary. It's a limited edition.
Yes.
It's made by, obviously, Ernesto Perez-Carrillo, and it's got a beautiful look to it. It's a Toro. And Michael, you worked with Ernesto on this, right?
Yes.
You do our special editions. Michael's in charge of a lot of those. So tell us a little bit about this cigar and why you decided on the size, the shape, and.
Well, Gary, 10 years ago we came out with a 70th anniversary tribute cigars.
Right.
And we created a large grouping of our best vendors at that time. The market has kind of changed over the last 10 years to more reflect the boutique-ness of the industry.
Right.
So we felt this year we would go to something unique, Box Press Toro.
Okay.
With some of the vendors who were the hottest of the boutique ones right now. And who hotter to pick than the person who rolled the #1 cigar of the year right now.
Right.
So
that's right.
we
Ernesto
did a few
Perez-Carrillo.
tweaks to some of the existing blends. This is a very nice hybrid Habano wrapper, very tasty looking, very dark chocolate.
Yeah, it looks like. Now it said on the website Habano, Connecticut. So this is basically like a broadleaf.
A variant, yes.
So it's a hybrid.
A lot of experiments.
So this is kind of it looks a little like the La Astoria, but it's nothing close to it. It's a totally different cigar.
It gives it a unique flavor profile to it. Yes.
All right. Well, it's got a beautiful silk band at the foot. I like that.
Which you want to remove before you light.
Yes, of course. And we'll put that over there. And it's really, really well packed. And I like box pressed. I really like box pressed cigars. It's a nice band here, 80th anniversary for Famous Smoke Shop.
That's like the ultimate experience. Do you like round? Do you like box press? And it doesn't matter to me, but it sits comfortably in your mouth, sits comfortably in your fingers.
Yeah, and I like this size.
It smokes very well.
Let's see.
It has a good draw.
It's got a triple seam cap.
Always from Ernesto.
All right, like in Cuba. And we're going to talk a little bit about Ernesto's history and stuff like that later on. But let's see. Wow. Sweet. Which I like a lot. Now, I have not smoked the cigar yet. You've probably smoked several of them,
a few,
right?
Just a few. But you're going to be in for a treat. It's got a little nice chocolate pre-light to it.
Yeah, it is. I would say it's a little chocolatey. Certainly looks chocolatey. All right. Well, let's fire them up.
Fire them up. That's the best thing.
I'm going to be very careful.
Well, being a nice, thick, kind of, I don't want to say toothy wrapper, because it's really more silky than anything, but it's nice, thick, almost broadleaf characteristics.
It's not as toothy as broadleaf, I noticed that.
I'm doing a nice slow burn because I want this cigar.
Yeah.
And the people out there to really see what this cigar can bring to them.
Yeah, I'm definitely getting a little bit of like leather and chocolate in the first few puffs here. The airflow is really good. It's just about right. It's perfect.
I always hate to use the word Cubanesque, but it does have some good characteristics of that.
Like some floral notes and things like that. I'm not getting anything yet. It's too early, but wow, nice volume of smoke too. We're getting a little pepper. A mix of pepper in there. Do you think that'd be coming from the wrapper? I know Habano can be a little peppery at times.
And there's all Nicaraguan fillers in here too.
Oh, okay. So he didn't mix any Dominican in like he's done with some other cigars. All right. So that's pretty cool.
So what you're gonna, and depending on the primings, depending on the region of the tobacco, it will depend on the spiciness. Because you can say all Nicaraguan, and you can have everything up in Jalapa Valley and have a really nice, smooth, mild cigar. You can say all Nicaraguan and have everything down in Esteli, and it's going to be a powerhouse that you might struggle to get through.
Well, I think we're off to a really good start. What else did you want to say?
This is typical of him. He blends a cigar to enjoy.
Yeah.
Not to overpower the senses, but to have a lot of flavor, a lot of lasting flavor.
Right. Now, would you, now, full disclosure, it's like 8:45 in the morning. Would you say this is
And I'm on a
going to be a good morning cigar?
And I'm on a protein bar and a coffee. So.
I had a protein shake before I got here. So.
Well, it really, that's the most subjective question. It really depends.
It's very
your,
smooth and creamy. So
it depends on your flavor, tolerance, your nicotine tolerance. A lot of people can handle this, and some people can't. I personally like to smoke in the moment, in the situation. I don't think every cigar is an 8 o'clock in the morning cigar, but this is beautiful after dinner. It
for sure.
It complements everything about the social environment. What is smoking cigars? We get together and we smoke cigars.
And here we are. Do you play dominoes?
I have.
I'm pretty lousy at it, actually.
I did. I think they call. I don't know if it's called a badugi. I forget what it is. And when you lock the person out and you're supposed to slam the last piece on the table once, and I did that to a Cuban, and he got really angry at me. But I beat him. So.
Okay. Well, we got off to a really good start. Let's see what happens when we get down to about an inch or so. All right. So here you are in Act 1 for the EPC Carrillo 80th anniversary. I'm with Michael Klingerman, Famous Smoke Shop. I guess you are the private label buyer. And this is a private label. It's made for 80th anniversary of Famous Smoke Shop. And what are you getting so far?
Well, on the retro, I got a nice pepper spice to it.
Yeah, I'm getting a little.
On the flavor in the mouth, remains chocolate.
Yep.
Coffee, smooth, and just that hint of Nicaraguan spice through the nose. I did that for Dave Spirit, our rep for EPC.
Okay.
Because he's all about the retro.
I'm not as much about the retro.
It's funny, I don't like retroing, but I did. I don't think you taste cigars through your nose. That's just my philosophy.
I really don't either. There are guys that say, I know like Tristan Roa, he says, oh, you got a retro here, you're never really going to taste all the cigar.
You know what I got?
The guys like that.
I got burned. It cleared out the nose, though.
Yeah, but the thing, I had some sinus issues in the recent years, and I just kind of tried to keep it clean. But it hasn't ruined my enjoyment of it. I mean, I've always, I never was big on it anyway. So
I tend to smoke a cigar like I drink bourbon. I keep the cigar in the smoke in my mouth as long as possible.
Well, that's interesting.
And then I.
Oh. Okay.
Well, I don't swallow smoke like I swallow bourbon, but I exhale.
But that's very interesting, and it's a great ash. It's nice and firm.
Yes.
It's very gray, mostly mix of dark and light gray, and let's see how firm it is. Let's give it the old side of the ashtray test. Yeah, I'm hitting it pretty hard here. There it finally goes.
Yeah.
So that's pretty good. Let's talk a little bit about Ernesto. I have some notes here, as usual, about Ernesto. His father, Ernesto Perez-Carrillo Sr., was born in 1904 in Cuba, and he learned the tobacco industry at a very early age, and he eventually went on as an adult to purchase the El Credito factory in Cuba. It was a little factory, and he became so well known in Cuba for cigars that he actually ended up earning a seat in Cuba's Senate in 1954 and 1958. But 59 was not a good year.
Quite.
So he fled to Miami, and they seized the factory, of course, so he had no choice. And he brought the family over, and he was back to work within 9 years, and he was able to purchase little, what do they call them, chinchillos? Or?
Something like that, chinchillos, little factories.
In Little Havana, And Ernesto obviously, grew up, learned something about the business, but he really wanted to go into music. He wanted to be a musician. He didn't want to go into the cigar business. I mean, here he was in America, right? This is where you can make it in anything, right? But he went to New York City, and he tried his luck as a drummer, but I believe that his father became very ill at some point, and the Cuban family is very, very tight. Very tightly knit, and the family always comes first. And so he went back to Miami.
You see that in a lot of the immigrant families.
Yeah.
Italians, Greeks, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Okay.
Very similar.
They had to come over here and they had to build from nothing.
Oh,
A
literally.
lot of them lost everything, and they show that strong bond that grew societies and almost mini empires out of hard work. And
I
that's
know,
it.
it's amazing. I know one woman who told me her father came here from Cuba. He had 35 cents in his pocket. That was it. 35 cents. Unbelievable. So eventually Ernesto, learned the business and, by the time the 90s came around, they were making cigars, and he really wasn't that pleased with what they were making at the time. They were like, very, very affordable, I guess, over-the-counter type cigars. And he said, we can do better than this. So I think what he was inspired by, like a Cuban Davidoff or something. And he created the La Gloria Cubana Wavell. And that line got 490 plus ratings in Cigar Aficionado. This is at the height of the cigar boom, or maybe just before the height of the cigar boom, and it just took off. This Ernesto Perez-Carrillo is one of the people responsible, I think, for the cigar boom because of his success.
You could call him one of the godfathers
At the
of
time,
the cigar boom.
I would agree with that. And he became very successful. Everybody knew who he was. The cigars sold like crazy.
Let's face it, back before that, cigars were basically El Producto, Dutch Masters, Garcia
that's
Vegas.
true.
And the only guy who smoked it was your uncle.
Right.
And he chewed on them all day long. And the smoke was acrid and arid, and you wanted to get away from him because his breath stunk. And that
My
was
grandfather
the
in
old guy.
Florida, he always had boxes of El Productos lying around the house. It was unbelievable. But
It wasn't until basically the era of the early 90s and the boom that the true flavor connoisseur came out in cigars.
I know, and it's interesting because he lived in Miami, and when the Cubans started coming into Miami in the early 60s, he finally discovered Cuban cigars. But it was too late, I guess, then the embargo came. But,
I like watching old movies where they smoke cigars.
Yeah, I do too. I love it.
And they'll, obviously most of the times they say, oh, here's a good Cuban or something like that. Because that's all the industry, that's all anybody knew.
And
It
in
was
those
a
days,
Cuban
that's what
cigar.
they were
Yeah.
smoking. But anyway, he went on to make cigars like the Serie R and everything like that. And then in 1999, he sold the Swedish Match, and they kept him on as an advisor, and he was make sure quality control was good and everything. And then in 2009,
And an ambassador, let's face it, an
he was,
ambassador to go around.
all right,
Yeah.
he was the ambassador, fair enough. And his son Ernesto III and Lizette, very lovely young lady, they created the EP Carrillo brand in 2009, and he's had amazing success. I mean, in 2014, the La Historia Senador took the #2 slot, and currently he's holding the #1 slot for the Encore Majestic. That was the #1 cigar of the year. So that's just a little information on our good friend Ernesto. What was it like working with Ernesto?
He's very humble, very down to earth, very direct and forward. He's very passionate about what he does, and you see it. But you just sit there and you can have a conversation on anything with him.
Yeah.
And it's a very relaxed setting, but he loves tobacco. He loves experimenting with tobacco. He loves taking tobacco and aging it and processing it and experimenting and coming out with something that is unique and has great taste and has great profile, because it's all about the flavor.
Well, that defines this cigar.
Yes.
It's complex.
He has one of the
Michael
lowest
Klingerman.
quota systems
Really?
of any of the factories, because he wants them to roll perfect cigars all the time.
Okay, so in other words,
Everything mostly is entobar. It's like tubular rolled
Right.
and then bunched, and then
Wow.
then you bind that.
No, I didn't know everything was entubar. That's news to me. So, but I'll tell you, I'm getting a really nice, consistent, kind of like a mocha, cedar, leather, kind of a mix of everything right now, and it's really delicious. So let's see what happens in Act 2 here in the Famous Smoke Shop retail store today. We're in these lounge chairs.
Basically,
Very
something
comfortable
we
today.
have to make. Okay, direct with the factories. So,
And
which is not
we
the
even
world's
have,
worst job
you
to
can't
have.
see them, but we have an ottomans here, so we can kind of like just relax and,
It's
But
actually
anyway,
a little too comfortable. So.
we're smoking the EP Carrillo 80th. Michael did have a part in this because he is the private label buyer, and we've been talking about the cigar, and I'm finding it really consistent I'm in, the ash again, fantastic. So far I only have one ash.
The remarkable thing, it hasn't picked up in strength,
No,
but
it
it still
hasn't.
maintains its flavor.
That's very interesting because it is very consistent in that way too. I'm getting a nice straw. I'm really enjoying the cigar. I'm relaxing with it, which is the idea.
I don't know how to say it. It's just a cool smoke. It's not hot, it's not acrid or anything like that. It's not burning the back of the throat.
I love that kind of sweet spice that I'm getting out of it. That's what I really like in a cigar. Let me ask you a couple of questions here. What would you say are the primary flavor notes? I've got, well, you tell me first.
Well, like I said, I'm picking up cocoa.
Definitely.
Little spice behind that. So you would say like a dark chocolate.
Yeah.
A little coffee, mocha-ish.
Yep, I'm getting that too.
Your baking spices, your little leather. I've never really licked or tasted leather that much, but it has.
But we know what it is.
Yeah. So
we all buy shoes. So would you say it's complex too?
It has a smooth complexity to it. It's not overly complex.
Okay.
It's more on the flavor. It's not like attacking all the senses.
Yeah, it's more like a mix of flavors that are constantly coming through all the time. I'm not really getting any major change-ups. So what would you pair it with?
To me, it pairs well with everything, but I think it pairs well after dinner.
Yeah.
With a nice little, you could do cordial, you could do coffee.
Coffee for sure.
I always like coffee.
I'm more
with
of a
cigars.
coffee guy too.
But I'm a bourbon, some scotches, some Japanese single malts. I just had this Hakushu 12-year single malt last night, and it was all vanilla.
Really?
Smooth butterscotch vanilla.
Did you have it with a cigar?
And no, I tend not to smoke actually in the house, and it was raining last night.
Oh, it was in the house. Okay. So you were at a poker tournament.
But, no, I was watching Monday Night Football. So.
Oh, that's right.
That was it.
That's right. Michael and I used to go to the IPCPR show, and sometimes we roomed together, and he always had ESPN on. It's like, so, I'd want to see the news if he's got the ESPN. But anyway, who was playing last night?
Oh, it was a horrible game. It was San Francisco and the Browns.
Oh, okay. But anyway, so I would agree with you on the bourbon and most likely a rum. And I know Ernesto likes rum.
Well, the funny thing is, this is a sweet cigar. So you can pair it with anything that's sweet. That's not overly, overly fruity or flavorful or anything like that.
I like the sweeter rum, like the darker añejos.
There is a Flor de Caña, a bourbon cask rum that they come out with. You can get in duty free. I'm not sure if you can get in the regular store, but it's wonderful.
Well, I forgot about the Flor de Caña because I've been drinking a lot of the Zafra and stuff like that, and Zaya. But I got to get myself a bottle of Flor de Caña. Terrific rum if you haven't had it. I like the 12-year myself. It's really good. But right down here in the middle of the cigar, it's just like, I guess, what we sometimes call the sweet spot. But it's been sweet all the way through, and I don't mean literally sweet. I just mean it's just been great combination of flavors.
Now, being in the morning, I am picking up a bit of the nicotine buzz here.
Oh, you are?
It's starting
probably
to get
am
to
too.
me
I should not stand up. But
it's good flavor.
For in the morning, I wouldn't normally go for this, but I think you're right. I think it's just about ideal any time of day, and I think I got to give credit to Ernesto for that too. I mean, it just blends a great cigar that I think anyone can enjoy. But who do you think the cigar is really for?
I think it's for the person who just loves a great medium to full body, flavorful cigar.
Yeah, it's definitely medium full. It's not full.
I think it's for everybody. The person who smokes mild cigars all day long, the back rats and stuff like that. This is your specialty after dinner cigar. The person who smokes the latest, greatest full body cigar, this is the cigar to smoke on an occasion or something like that.
Yeah. An anniversary or a birthday, but you could just smoke it any time. And they come in a box of 10, correct, Michael? 10 cigars. And it's only made in this size, right?
Yes.
It's one size only.
Limited edition box press Toro. We wanted to keep the price reasonable.
What is the
customer.
price?
The price is like $8 a cigar.
Okay. And I'll tell you, this is definitely worth more than $8. I would easily pay 10 to 12 for this cigar. It's high caliber. And you know, the other thing you were saying about the flavors you're getting here in the morning and stuff, I didn't smoke at all yesterday. So my palate's pretty fresh.
So you have a very clean palate.
And I'm getting a lot of good stuff. It's funny because I thought I was getting a cold last week, so I didn't smoke for 5 days. And the first cigar was wow, you know. And having taken a break yesterday, it's really nice too. How many cigars do you smoke in a day?
Well, it really depends. If we're blending or tasting or doing something like that, you could smoke up to 5, 8 cigars a day.
But not the whole cigar,
But not
really?
the whole, never the whole cigar.
No, not for samples.
I probably am a 2 cigar a day person.
Yeah, that's where I'm at.
If I'm just sitting there doing spreadsheets, paperwork, emails, creating purchase orders, working with the factories, this cigar would last me all morning.
I could easily make this go. In fact, I had a cigar last week, and it was about a Toro size, maybe a little shorter actually. And I nursed that thing for 3 hours. I only had 2 relights because I just let it go too long, and it held up well. And we haven't had to relight this at all. It's just, and it's burning beautifully too.
We took a couple-minute break in between segments, and it did go out a little, but it doesn't have any change in the flavor from.
But I haven't seen you relight it, so
just a little when we came back from break. I had to relight it a little, but no, it's consistent. The draw is perfect on this.
It really is. I mean, this is really, really nice, and it's easy to shape the ash, which I like to do.
Everybody,
into a nice cone.
A lot of people ask me, "What's your favorite cigar?" And truthfully, in my position, I can say I don't have a favorite cigar because I smoke a little bit of everything.
That's true. I guess I don't either, really. I mean, I do have some favorites, but
everything with an unbiased opinion. I can smoke your, I don't like them necessarily, but I can smoke your flavored cigars. You can smoke your infused cigars. It's nothing I would go to, but I can smoke it with an honest and objective evaluation. Right. I can smoke a budget cigar, and this is right on.
Oh, absolutely.
Spot on.
It is. It's
what
worth
I
every
look
penny,
for
I'll tell you
personally in a cigar is flavor more than strength.
Yeah, and I'm that way too. And I kind of tend to drift towards cigars like this, which have a lot of sweet spice in them. And the other thing I like about having a cigar in the morning and then a cigar in the afternoon is you know, it saves my palate. I'm able to enjoy them more too. You know, I mean, I work with a couple of people. They smoke all day long. I mean, they must do 3 to 4 cigars a day. I don't know how they do it. I don't know, and I wonder if they're really enjoying it. You know, I wonder if they're just smoking because it's just something, gives them something to do all day.
It's funny when you go down to the factories and you're blending, and they may bring out 10 or 12 different blends, and you have to try each and every one of them.
I know I've done that many years ago. I did it with Hal.
And by the end of the day, what they ask you, what do you think about this cigar? It's a really good cigar, and they're smiling. The factory owner is very proud of it, and we're not really fibbing, but oh yeah, it's a good cigar. I couldn't taste anything. It could have been the biggest dog rocket in the world, and I couldn't taste it. But
right, I know, it's not fair.
So we take it back. A lot of things will blend down at the factory, but then we'll bring it back, let it sit, let it age, outgas if it was freshly rolled, get it out of its sick period, and then try it again. And you'd be surprised at how a cigar changes as it ages.
Do you know how many?
I think this is going to age very well.
I think so too. Do you know how many iterations this went through before Ernesto said that's it?
Really, I think just one. We just really talk conceptually about the cigar more than rolled and smoke samples. He had an idea on what to do to tweak the wrapper with this nice hybrid that he's been working with, and
it's
when
really
we tried
good.
it is outstanding. So, I mean, all credit goes to Ernesto.
Yeah, and I you can tell it's sun-grown because it has that reddish tint to it, which I really love on a wrapper. It just gives that nice little, you know, reddish glow to it, and it just, I mean, you know, it's just really nice. And I'll tell you, we're going to keep smoking here, and we'll see what happens when we get down to Act 3. All right, we're in Act 3 of the Ernesto Carrillo 80th anniversary. This is one of a number of cigars that are made for Famous Smoke Shop by various blenders, and in the 80th anniversary edition. So check those out, and you can also find our 80th anniversary cigars in our Famous Smoke Shop catalog. So if you can't get down to the retail store where we are, order online, get a catalog, it's free. So go on our website, famous-smoke.com, pick up a box of Carrillo 80th and get a free catalog too.
I'll be honest, sneaky is what I consider this cigar. My head is starting to spin right now.
I'm definitely feeling it. My heart is my heart rate is up.
The nicotine is getting early in the morning. It's a sneaky.
It is.
Sneaky, surprisingly, it's a flavor bomb,
Yeah.
but it's got that sneaky nicotine level to it. So it's going to satisfy everyone.
Oh yeah, and you mix it with coffee, and so with that and the nicotine, it's like woo.
One stimulant on top of another.
So anyway, I guess you could say we are really loving the cigar, and
yeah, and it's not any hints of bitterness right now. Not any hints of picking up.
no,
heat.
you're right. I'm glad you pointed that out.
It's
because
got a lot
it's
of
just
nicotine in there.
so consistent. It tastes as good now as it did at the beginning, and it's not turning bitter. I'm not getting a lot of juice or any. I mean, it's just the wrapper's holding up, the burn is holding up. It's just a terrific cigar.
Right now,
And,
I can't see you, but I can hear you. Okay. But it's very flavorful. It's going
And the smoke
to,
volume is still high.
Oh,
It's
look
just
at
a
it.
great
It's
cigar.
going to appeal to anybody. I don't think. Now, everything's subjective about tobacco.
Sure.
You may love something, and I may hate it, and that's the great part of it. So get out and try this. But I really don't think anybody who really smokes cigars and has an upper end kind of a palate is going to hate this cigar. I think they're actually going to love it.
They're going to love it, and I'll tell you the fact that they're about $8 average cigar, and you get a box of 10, and really highly recommend the EPC 80th Anniversary EP Carrillo, made exclusively for Famous Smoke Shop, and don't forget to follow cigaradvisor.com, read all our articles, our reviews, all that good stuff, and you can follow us on Facebook and Instagram. And where else are we? YouTube. All our videos are there. And Michael, I want to thank you for coming out this morning. You're a real trooper. Thank you so much.
I appreciate it.
And you did a great job, and we'll pass it on to Ernesto, who's going to be here.
Yeah,
He's going to be here soon. And we've been doing in-store promoting the cigar. So thanks again, and we'll see you next time on #NowSmoking. Happy smokes.